Hello, YouTube and shipmates. Lucky Mears over here. And this time I want to talk about my personal favorite ship class, although they are inferior some degree, but they can be still useful some way or another. Like completing Operation Siren if you build a very supportive pack fleet. And what is this ship class? I'm glad you asked, because we are going to talk about a Deutschland class heavy cruisers. The pocket battleships, so to say. Now, why I'm bringing this up? Well, there is a good reason for that. First off, we have now, this time when this video is released, Deutschland, Admiral Scheer, and surprisingly a little spare. Now, this now fills 3 ships on the class, but there is a slight problem. We are still missing the second of the ship from the excuse me, that's wrongly pronounced. A second ship after Deutschland, that is Admiral Scheer. Now, before I made this video, I was thinking about making a video about Akashi. Well, it turned out that my mind actually wandered off, and then I realized, what about Admiral Scheer? Is there any hints about her anywhere across the internet? And color me surprised, I actually forgot there was. Well, sort of, so to say. Well, like, I found one place that was actually painted like Admiral Scheer, the concept art, probably. And now, well, interesting plane. The Reddit page, there was an Admiral Scheer concept art. Now, upon closer look, it has been, to this day, has been drawn 2 years ago. So I wondered, wait a minute. Yes, the art is good, but it seems to be missing the pocket battleship style, because if you compare the Deutschland and Admiral Scheer, you can clearly see that their guns are visibly there. Now, if we want to compare that to Reddit, the barrels are surprisingly small. So it doesn't pack that pocket battleship persona or vibe. It's missing the vibe. So then I went a little bit research about what makes character designing difficult. So I decided to went a little bit adventure and across the internet and set my sight on the artist who designed Crosswave and Deutschland. And that was an artist called Renin, if I recall now. The artist actually draw the Odin. Now, if we want to compare Deutschland Crosswave to Odin, you can clearly see the pattern that there is something that really speaks the artist really focusing on the design. The vibe of the pocket battleship, as I personally see to it, because that is my personally favorite ship class in the game. Now, unfortunately, I have no information. Is Renin continuing designing the characters to the Yo-Star? Because if not, then someone else has to design the Admiral Scheer for us. Now the game is 8 years, 7 years old, I don't remember. And you take a look that Deutschland is old ship. Admiral Crosswave is old ship. And we got the Odin. And after that, we got the Prince Heinrich. Then we get Aegir, Brunhilde, Alviter. Then we got the Friedrich Karl, and then Prince Adalbert. Yes, there are different artists involved, designing different types of ship girls. And I love about the idea of bringing different artists and then bringing these ship girls to life. But then there is the question: is Renin, the Deutschland artist, still working for Yo-Star? If not, then who's gonna then draft the Admiral Scheer? Now, before we go to that, I guess we should also talk about the ship itself. Well, who is heavy cruiser Admiral Scheer? Well, heavy cruiser Admiral Scheer is the second ship from the three of the Deutschland class Panzer ship. They also got the nickname because of their 28cm guns. Two triple turrets, and I also have a book called Pocket Battleships of the Deutschland class, Warships of the Kriegsmarine, made by Gerhard Koop and Klaus-Peter Smolke, to give us and you a little bit more information about this ship. Now, to put it shortly and simply, Admiral Scheer's career as a heavy cruiser was very successful commerce raider amongst the comparisons to the submarines, the U-boats. Now, she almost survived at the end to the end of the war, but then British bombers arrived at Kiel in 1945, and then she capsized to harbor. Then, after the war, she was then buried under the earth, the same place where she sunk, and she is still there today. But what about ship itself? Well, see is slightly different comparison to the Deutschland. Why? Well, Admiral Scheer got this major refit that started in 1940s, the 1st February, and lasted to 31st July. And I marked these noticeable refits. You can actually see a few of the pictures. I think I want to add in this video, after some little bit, excuse me, editing to prove my point. So, what is this major refit? Well, there is also the engine overhaul. And this is few of the upgrades that Admiral Scheer got. That is tubular mast, or how you call it, battle mast, added. And then clipper bow, or the Atlantic bow. If you wonder what this clipper bow is, let's bring back the meme that Hipper is flat, but compare her to the Eugen, Blücher, Tallinn and Weser. You can see the size differences. Well, that is a meme because Clipper's Hipper's bow was flat, but then Eugen, Blücher and rest of the Hippers got this Atlantic bow. So that's the context of it. Then some kind of hull improvement. That's a question mark. Then there is a 10.5 centimeters flak installed. Fumo 27 installed. And then funnel received a slightly ragged cab. I will show you in the pictures. I have took from this book. I highly recommend reading this book. It actually gives a lot information about these ships. But then arrives 1945, where she gets flak armament increased, and some was added atop of the main guns. I will show you later in the pictures. Now, why I want to bring this up? Well, we need to think about like artist point of view. If we want to create Admiral Scheer, is it going to be designed the same way like Deutschland and Admiral Scheer is? If we want to take a look at their art designs, focus only to their riggings. You can see that there is a pocket battleship vibe in there. The rigging with those big guns, 28 centimeter guns, it's there. Now, take that design, but then add those flak AA guns at top of the turrets. Instead of keeping those rigging's noses kind of flat, you need to curve them a little bit forward to show this clipper bow. Then what about this, well, probably adding one or two. Or maybe one that 10.5 centimeter flak gun. 105 millimeters, however you want to say it. But then what about the character design? Before I made this video, I was having a dinner and I was racking my brain how to bring Admiral Scheer alive to this game. Well, unfortunately, there was something like a shoulder cape or something like that, and then a cap hat, like the you know, those same kind of admiral caps, but more different. Well, I was thinking about, well, Odin is close to that design, but she is more lightly dressed. But that's the only way I can see the Admiral Scheer, but unfortunately that's just based on the Odin design. So it's not gonna work, personally. But is this going to be the year if we're going to also have the Admiral Scheer? Basically, I don't know. Last time I heard about designing the characters is going to take a couple of months, let's say 6 or 7 months, if I recall the last time they made an interview about how long it takes to create a character. Concept art, designing, and then comparisons, and then so on and so forth. Designing character takes a lot of time. Now, it's been 70 minutes. There has been nothing more but question after questions, and then speculation after speculation and questions. And then trying to understand what I am talking about. I'm trying to point out that last time I made about video related to Admiral Scheer, it's all the way back to 2023, if I recall. And then, when it comes to the... well, there's a lot of things I want to talk about related to Deutschland class ships. Well, funnily enough, as much I want to compare things, let me go these things through because I had a lot to say. Crosswave in World of Warships is the only class, only ship of that class. Then we got the Odin. And in World of Warships own channel, there is this Odin review or Odin Tridoc. And if I recall this, like right off the bat, if I recall this memorably, they say the Odin was based on Deutschland class heavy cruisers. So if you compare Crosswave and Odin, you can almost see the similarities, but increased hull and gun armament designs. So the same. What else? What else there is? And what comes to the Aegir, Alvitir, and Brunhild, they all are the O-class heavy cruisers. Well, excuse me, large cruisers, or battle cruisers, how we want to say them. Which is, funnily enough, Aegir is in Vanguard, and then Brunhild and Alvitir are in mainline. Main fleet. Well, backline. Backline. And then there is a Prince Heinrich, Friedrich Karl, and Prince Adalbert. These three are B-class heavy cruisers. And they all are based from or upgraded versions of Deutschland class pocket battleships. Or Panzerschiff, how you want to say it. There are some similarities. When it comes to the designing the character, well, all I want to say that the Renin who designed Deutschland, Crosswave, and Odin did some really good job designing these characters. It is gonna be a sad news if we going to learn that Renin doesn't no longer make characters to the Yo-Star. Okay, that ended really well, really oddly, because there is so many things I want to say, like questions and my opinions about this. Because I want to open up a little bit about the the anticipation of like mini event, small event, like some kind of where you can finally release the Admiral Scheer, or probably tongue twisting, the tanker from the German Navy that was used to resupply Crosswave and then Admiral Scheer during their voyage. Actually, I have also video about it in the Admiral Scheer related. I'm gonna add links down below if I'm going to remember that. And also about in the video where I was guessing who are going to be released in the future upcoming years in the Azure Lane, the new ship girls, blah yada yada yada. Like and and of course, let's not forget, in Crosswave there is also a hint about Admiral Scheer. But then I realized, is this based on same character, or is this like someone somewhere actually decided to drop this kind of hint? So I'm gonna add this to the links down below, if I come to remember. Is this going to be the year we are going to see Admiral Scheer? I want to warn that if you are anticipating something, it will ruin your vibes. Like, I learned some interesting thing about one character that's as said, keep your expectations low. It's not the right way to do things. But also, if you want to continue playing this game, you also need to respect the work they are doing and how much time they are also spending to create these characters. And yes, we have now Guam from Alaska class, and there was supposed to be 5 of them. Historically, if I recall. I also made a video about Guam. But are we going to see every member from every ship class? Because yet again, we have few sisters, some of the classes here in the game, that are now finally here. Like, let's just say this ship class have 5 ships, and then over the years we have finally all 5 of them together. And like, then there is this ship class, like Deutschland class, that has already have 3 ships, and we have only 2 of them this far. Little Speer is just a smaller version of the Crash Speer. So I highly recommend taking time to be patient when they are designing the characters. You can wish in their somewhere in their comments that when is Admiral Scheer going to be released, like example, and then okay, there are so many things I want to say about, but first I want to say just be patient and keep your anticipations in control, because we are almost halfway, closely halfway of 2025, and the game is almost 8 years or 9 years old. How? I actually don't. I somehow keep forgetting how old this game is. But keep your anticipations and expectations in control, because when it comes to designing a ship that has same vibes like Deutschland and Crash Speer is going to be very difficult. And if you want to add these small upgrades like her historical counterpart, like that major refit, that also needs to be added, and then the clipper bow if we want to add. Well, it's going to be wise one to add to show that she actually went some kind of refit before she was going to be released. Then, how difficult it is going to be designing a character that is not made by the same artist. So respect to all great artists out there, because they are using plenty of time. I have also designed some of the characters. I like drawing, so drawing a character is difficult, I say. If I want to draw some kind of character, fantasy character, concept art comes first. And then once the concept art is done, you need to then make the character complete. So designing anything takes time and patience and some amount of resources as well. What else I want to say about it? Well, there are many ways I want to end this video, because we are now going almost half an hour. Is this going to be a year? Well, I don't know, but we shall see. Let's just be patient with the Admiral Scheer, because if the artist who designed Deutschland, Speer and Odin is like not working with the Joestar anymore, making the same vibe with the Admiral Scheer from the other artists might going to be difficult. So I highly recommend supporting the artists who are working with the Joestar and be patient. And expectations, like one main character said, keep your expectations low and you won't be surprised. Okay, that's gonna ruin everything. Like, great vibes that finally was released, so keep it in control and check. Because once Admiral Scheer is going to be released, I am personally going to be relieved and curious how she is going to work, because I also made a video about that as well, how Scheer is going to work. Now, I say this was just me rambling about my thoughts of Admiral Scheer and my personal point of view, how difficult it is to design anything. Characters, fantasy ships, landscapes, concept arts, and etc. And also slight history of it. This was a little bit rambling to speak about, but this was something I wanted to talk about it. Well, is 2025 the year we can finally see Admiral Scheer, or do we have to wait another few years until Admiral Scheer is going to be released? I don't know. We just have to be patient and watch what kind of other characters we are going to see. Because I am personally going to be patiently waiting until Admiral Scheer is waited, but also I'm going to also grind the rest of the main campaign with my Ironblood fleet. That is going to be extremely difficult. Anyways, this was a long rambling, nonsense speakings and all that. I just want to open up a little bit about Admiral Scheer's situation I personally see. What is your opinions about Admiral Scheer's expectations? Now then, thank you so much for listening my thoughts, my opinions, and my self point of view about this context. And you know, there were oh gosh, hard to end the video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. My name is LuckyMias205. I'm gonna go back grinding, collecting, and also doing other things. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves. Be strong. And see you next time.